Hey everyone, and welcome back to Swift Guitar Lessons for session 2 of my lesson breaking down David Gilmour's second guitar solo on Comfortably Numb. We're jumping back in on page 2 of my official tablature, which you can find at patreon.com/swiftlessons. Now let's get started with a demonstration of just the segments that we're going to be learning in this lesson. Okay, getting back to work. Again, we're following along using my official tab. I'm going to perform a line for you and then break it up into different phrases. The first line that we're going to be working on can be broken up into 3 different phrases, and it sounds like this. Okay, getting started with the first line of page 2 of our second solo. It's going to sound like this at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Okay, so let's break that up into 3 different phrases, the first of which sounds like this. Alright, and that's a great example of what I love so much about David Gilmour's playing, is how percussive he gets. So that's going to begin with the 9th fret of the D string, then a double stop with a slight bend on 7 and 7, G string and B string. Alright, then dead strokes, chicka chicka. Alright, those percussive strums. So far you have. Then we're going to follow that up with another bend on that double stop. Put that in there, we have. Alright, then we're going to follow it up with one more dead stroke and one more bend on the double stop. You put all of it together, we have. Phrase number 1 of that first line. Okay, on to the next phrase. It's going to sound like this real slow. At full speed. Okay, so vibrato 7th fret of the D string. Slide up to 9 on the same string. Alright, then we're going to play 7, 9, G string and D string. So far for this phrase you have. One more time. Alright, then onto the G string, we're going to hammer 7 to 9 in vibrato. Then pull off and go to the 9th fret of the D string. Put all that together, we have. Alright, then we're going to follow up with that same double stop that we did before. Alright, that was G string and B string, slight bend there, then D string pulling off 9 to 7. And then go into the 9th fret of the A string to complete that lick. Put all that together, we have. Okay, now we're on to the 3rd phrase of this line. It's going to sound like this real slow. Okay, let's break that down. We're on the 7th fret of the D string, and we're going to follow that up, pulling from 9 to 7. Then go to the A string 9th fret, and then hit your double stop. Then we're going to repeat that same pull off, 9 to 7 on the D string, and then go to the 9th fret of the A string. And that kind of ends one cycle of this kind of roundabout lick that he's throwing out. So we have... We're basically going to repeat that again with one variation. Alright, that pull off that we end with is going to be up one string on the G string and D string. So, to finish it up, we had that 7, pulling off 9 to 7, 9th fret of the A string, double stop. Then we're just going to play 9 pulling to 7 on the G string, and then go into the 9th fret of the D string. You put that full phrase together, we have. Okay, so now let's review that entire line. I'm going to play all 3 phrases for you at a slow tempo and ask that you practice along. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Okay, the next line of our tablature is going to feature a little bit more of David Gilmour's signature percussive sound. It's going to sound like this. Okay, let's break that down into 2 different phrases. Okay, that first phrase started off with a dead stroke, then we're going to be vamping on that 7th fret double stop. So, dead stroke, and then we're going to play 7, 7, 7. Every time you do that, it's very short and there's a slight bend. Alright, then we're going to play. Alright, that was a dead stroke, 7, dead stroke, 7, 7. Okay, just like that. You put all that together, we have it very easy. Alright, and then right when you get done that, you need to slide up real high. We're going way up to the 19th fret. Okay, the next phrase is going to sound like this. Alright, and this part is a little bit open to interpretation. If you're listening to the original recording, it's getting buried a little bit in the mix. So, this is as close as I can get it, as close as it needs to be honest with you. We're sliding up to the 19th fret. Alright, then we're going to go up to 21 and bend up to 22, about a half step bend there. So far you have. Then I like to do a bend and return on that 21st fret. I like to pluck it one more time, then do a hammer, and return back to the 19th fret. Put all that together, we have. Alright, now we're ready to move on to the next line. Okay, a quick recap of what we just played on line 2, but I'm going to begin it from the last phrase of line 1. It's going to sound like this. Alright, and one quick tip, make sure that you're covering up the strings that you're not using, especially when you're playing those high notes. Okay, because we don't want a whole lot of noise coming from those open strings. Okay, now jumping into line 3, this part's going to feature a little bit more of that percussion. Sounds like this. Okay, so with my ring finger on the 17th fret of the B string, I'm going to deaden all the strings and play down, down, up. Okay, then I'm going to play 17, 17 on the B string, and then bend that 17th fret up to 19. So far you have. Real slow. Okay, now a lot of players kind of skip the percussive elements of this solo. To me, it just seems like something's missing when they do that. That's one of the coolest things about David Gilmour's playing is these dead strokes on the strings here. So, scraping one more time. Once you've bent the string, we're going to play. Alright, so we return back down to 17, pulled off to 15, and then played 17th fret of the B string again, but with heavy vibrato. So far you have. All right, if you want to rebend the string, that sounds fantastic. One more time. All right, then we're going to finish it up with 15 to 17, bend 17 up to 19, return, 15. All right, then we're on to the 16th fret of the G string with a nice vibrato to finish up that first phrase. Put all that together, we have. Okay, and the second phrase of that line, one more time, is going to sound like this. One more time. G string, 14 going up to 16. 16 sliding down to 14 on the D string. The 12th fret of the D string. And the 14th fret of the A string. Different players use different fingers on this part. I'm using my pointer, ring, and then sliding down with my middle finger, which sets up the rest of the lick. All right, let's recap that. Okay, recapping all of line number 3. Sounds like this. Okay, now moving on to line number 4 on this page. This is where things start to fade out, but I was able to slow things down and also turn the volume way up. I was able to figure out these licks for you. It's gonna sound like this. Okay, kind of double time in there at the end. Okay, breaking down that first lick, once again, it's gonna sound like this. Real slow. So basically what I'm doing is I'm sliding up to the 16th fret of the G string. Where you slide from doesn't really matter. We're not going to be voicing the note that we're sliding from. But it does sound like he's coming from a ways away. So let's just say around the 12th fret area. Then we're going to have, all right, that was 15, 16. That was the B string and the G string. Then we have 17, 17 bent a whole step, then 15, 17, and back to 16 on the G. Put that together, we have. Okay, moving on to the second lick of line number 4 on this page. It's gonna sound like this. Begins with a super bend. Okay, so that super bend, you know it when you hear it. You gotta listen for that sound going up to around the 19th fret. So 16th fret of the G string, bending up to 19, then 16, 14 staccato. All right, once more. Then we're gonna have 16 pulling down to 14 on the D string and sliding down to 12. So far you have. All right, then it kind of goes into a double time here. One more time, this is kind of a long phrase. So the D string, 14 pulling down to 12, 14 on the A, then we're gonna have 12 on the D, 14 on the A, 12, 14 on the E string, 13, 12, blues scale down to 10, and we're on the D note, 10th fret of the low E string. Okay, if you put all that together, we have real slow now. Now at this point, the track is really starting to fade down, and all you hear is more of that percussive picking on that 7th fret double stop. This is the final thing that you need to learn for this solo. We're gonna play. Okay, And that's something that you'd already played earlier in the solo. So just back to the percussive strumming to finish up this iconic solo. Okay, recapping the final 3 phrases for this solo. It's gonna sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... Alright, to finish up, Comfortably Numb's second solo. Okay, great work everybody. If you're learning this solo for the first time, this is definitely a high watermark for you. It's a classic solo, it's got tons of great licks in it, and personally learning it changed my guitar playing forever. Now I'm going to play through the entire solo at a slower tempo and ask that you practice along. Okay, getting started with our power chord. Alright everyone, thanks so much for checking out this lesson series on David Gilmour's second guitar solo on Comfortably Numb. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much to my supporters at patreon.com/swiftLessons for making these lessons possible. I got many more videos coming up, so keep checking back. Please subscribe, please share. This is Rob at Swift Guitar Lessons in Philadelphia, saying happy picking.